Before anything we can get into, coast to coast, from TITOR, coast to coast radio. And developing his breakthrough concepts in space-time physics and the study of time. What led to the development of what today is Gillian's father in the morning will come to the U.S. and will hope to take his son away. And you know what? I have no comments on this whole thing. It's going to be ridiculous and probably a real trouble for Miami. I hope they are racing for it, and I'm sure they are. Otherwise, I see nothing in the news and even there is a particular comment. Partial birth abortion ban news. See GOP courting Spanish with a new ad. Jewish settlers of Ohio was back. without going through its agony. Biotech food safety urge. North Carolina school MC sex class reading. Because they thought that was for 8th graders. So we let them come back to her again with the girls. Because it was a big thing going around saying that American education discriminated against girls. That's right. The teachers somehow regarded them as less important than guys. So that's basically what the teachers do. That's what's about. Global warming, sea change, about sea change. So down in Australia, the children are required to wear headgear to school, and soon that may be the reality here too. In Cairo, French archaeologists have discovered the remains of a 4,000-year-old Queen's Pyramid south of Cairo, complete with texts of special prayers previously found only with kings. And here's an article on church urge to recognize reality of hell. It's a really interesting article, too. This hour, what I want to do is talk to people, you out there, who claim to be travelers in time. Believe me, it's interesting. Strange, but interesting. So if you're a time traveler, call me. That's all we're going to take calls from this hour. People who claim to have arrived here now, through time, through whatever method. Coming right up. All right, we are accepting calls this hour from time travelers only. If you've traveled in time, or you are presently a traveler, 2 lines are closed, but for that group, they are certainly open. With that in mind, top of the morning to you on the wildcard line. You are on the air. Hello? Yes. Hello? Yes. We're here.
Yes, my name is Robert, and I am a part-time traveler from a little bit different dimension from yours.
Well, that's... Okay, listen, I think that may be virtually the same thing. You claim to be from another dimension.
Yes, sir.
I'm not a senator.
Okay.
There's a little slip there. You haven't testified in front of the room lately, have you?
No, not at all.
There's no other way somebody would say yes, Senator.
Well, actually, my original dimension, I'm from your Senator of Arizona.
Well, I'll be damned. Of Arizona?
Yes, so basically,
Senator Arkville. Arizona Senator Arkville, boy, that has a ring to it.
Yes, yes, it does. Definitely does. Basically, we're having in my dimension the South won the Civil War.
The South won the Civil War?
Yes, at the first night of the Bull Run, basically that's where the Civil War ended. I am from, the Confederate States of America.
Now, if the South won the Civil War, all states would be Confederate, wouldn't they?
Well, no, actually, the original nation is the United States of America, which runs
at the Pennsylvania Maryland border, roughly?
Well, Pennsylvania Maryland border, and also up into Canada.
Confederate states.
Shortly after that, basically, Lincoln resigned. I was watching your Civil War a couple of years ago. You had the PBS special, and it was a big hit in our dimension because it was something that, we never thought that thing possible. But,
so that special appeared in your dimension as well?
Well, it didn't appear in my dimension. We just basically thought it back. We've been able to...
What about history? between the ending of the Civil War, which you say was, and now, it must be indeed in your dimension entirely different.
It's entirely different. Basically, what happened is the United States of America, basically went all the way to Europe, which is basically Mexico, all the way to Central America, or just third states. It's another flag on our stars and bars.
So really, in that dimension, we physically possess how much of Canada?
It's all of it.
Oh, right. I have really wanted Canada for a long time, and so
you ever come over, ever meet you out, to take you to where I live?
Is that possible?
Yes, that is possible.
What about this terrible IBM? Keep yourself out. What if I can't with you? And you have Senator Bell, wouldn't I possibly break out?
You're just a different person. You're not sort of difficult to explain. I don't know. My job basically is pretty much to go out. I'm retired.
I can't hear the southern accent in you, but
yes, but I'm basically retired. My job was to go out to different dimensions and sort of scout them out and see.
You sound a little young to be retired.
I've had rejuvenation.
Rejuvenation. Another advantage in by the way, how should we consider this dimension? As is there a way to phrase where you say you are from? Is it fourth dimension, fifth dimension?
Basically, we explored right now about 50 different offshoots of the planet Earth.
So you mean different dimensional
renderings of Earth? Basically, from our dimension, how time is split differently. There's a lot of of course, there's a couple of splits where the United States lost the Cold War. We, of course, there's several where we lost the Civil War. There's one where basically Nazi Germany won.
Nazi Germany won?
World War II.
World War II. Boy, what a hellish place that must be.
Yes, it is. It's extremely bad. We basically, well, talked to some of the people, they popped in and they saw swastikas in Richmond and they left. Didn't want them. That's about all we know.
Now, our theoretical physicists are presently in this dimension beginning to realize there are other dimensions. Some of our best are saying that. But they're speculating 10, some more, and you're saying as many as 50.
There are a lot more. And we didn't find, basically, we found purpose system technology in Europa, which is hazmat as ropes. I don't know if it's we have
I'm very curious about Europa in this dimension. I think you might have some form of life, but probably fairly primitive.
Well, this is, I don't know quite how to explain it. This dimension is probably, it's fairly dangerous to go to.
The one we're in, you're talking about the one?
Yes, the one that we're in currently, Senator.
Stop on a senator, all right. Okay. All right. I'm not a senator in this dimension, and I don't much have respect for a lot of them either.
Okay, well then I apologize.
So, in fact, it worries me to even think that I might be one of them. Okay. But Arizona would be the state.
It's a very nice state.
Anyway, this is no shitting on this dangerous dimension stuff. I mean, I'm reading this environmental news, and the ozone layer is getting gigantic to the point where they say it's going to be affecting us up north here, the way Australia is affected. The ocean is warming. The storms are getting worse. Things are going to hell in a handbasket, really.
Well, we're concerned about that. We're also concerned about, I guess, how conspiratorial the United States government.
Oh, we are so conspiratorial. Even my listeners, believe me, my listeners are so conspiratorial. Yes, I am too. I am too. Now that I think about it. But yeah, why are you here?
Basically, like I said, I'm here to basically to scout out different areas to determine whether or not to actually present ourselves to governments. That's one of the things I do.
Do you think that's a good idea, or do you think that's dangerous? No, that's a good idea.
It's a very dangerous idea. We, to basically say that I'm from the Confederate States of America.
That's going to get you.
It's going to get me in trouble. We did settle the slavery issue when Robert E. Lee was president.
So you're saying that the United States did not maintain slavery? No, that's longer period of time.
He basically different ways which slaves were able to buy their freedom. And they had a choice of going back to Liberia, and if they stayed here, they had to actually move out of the state that they were originally enslaved in. And at that time, we were basically we were advancing Mexico, and there was a lot of land down there.
So, boy, in your dimension, we have a lot more land. I mean, we swallowed Canada in one quick bite, and then a lot of Mexico as well.
Well, the Confederate States took Mexico. We took Mexico, and then what you call the United States took Canada.
So you all were rebels for the real cause.
Yes, we were. I'm just now
a bunch of land grabbers is what you are. I know. That's what they say here too. So, what is the future for this dimension? Is it a rosy one, or
I don't know. I guess the thing that we're most surprised about, since we went to a lot of the nations of that technology, is the lack of space travel that you're done. I've seen other areas with the same tech level or the same technology that you have, and they already have a colony on the moon. They've already landed people on Mars. There's some asteroids.
Listen here, I'm pressed by the clock. I've got to take a break. Do you want to hold on? You're really an interesting person.
I can hold on for just a little bit.
Just a little while?
Probably maybe 10 more minutes. I really don't. It's interesting.
In this dimension. This is coast to coast, and don't touch Real-time travel is such a romantic notion for me. For a dimensional traveler in a moment. right, I'm only accepting calls from time or dimensional travelers. I'm not sure there's a really big difference. And by the way, thank you for waiting, caller. Is there a big? I mean, isn't dimensional travel a type of time travel?
Not really. As far as our scientists can tell, no, not really. What happens is, I think there are time and space. When I go back to my dimension, it's the same time it is here.
Time is linear in each different dimension.
Yes, unfortunately. I just want to say
That means our Bell, Dr. Holmes, and our Bell Senator, do they live to be different ages?
yes, yeah, they can. I mean, I know of you, at least in one other dimension, where you host, if you're not going to believe this, you host a talk show on the moon. Or basically broadcast from the moon, from the moon, from the moon.
I would entertain that option if it were given to me. Listen, there's somebody who would like to ask you a quick question. On my international line, where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Larry. I'm calling from Sudbury, Ontario, 300 miles north of Toronto.
Actually, territory that isn't even actually Canada.
That's right.
To my president.
There is an Ontario, which is another flag. All right. I have a question. What are the cars like there? Are there Chevys, Fords? Do they drive differently? Same kind of transmissions? Some of the names of the cars?
Really good questions, yeah.
Basically, we have what's called in Atlanta, which is our equivalent of Detroit, is what's called Trafalgar iron bars, and they have a variety of different models and makes.
So, in other words, that is your Detroit.
Yeah, Atlanta is basically our Detroit. Basically, I guess what we call a lot of, I'm going to be polite, I guess a lot of, they all prefer to call stress black.
Lots of this talk in this,
Black smooth into Iowa. There's a very large town there called Jerusalem, which is
Jerusalem. Iowa. Now he asked about cars. Can you describe any automobiles?
Pretty much the same. Ours are electric. We don't get a lot of diesel.
Figures.
The South is one big muscle car.
How can you have a muscle electric car? I guess you could get enough electricity.
Do you have gasoline at all?
Yeah. Do you? What?
Hello?
We lost him. We lost him. He's gone. We lost him. You said, yeah, yes. He said he only had 10 minutes, and I guess
that's true.
His 10 minutes are up.
But I love questions like that, Art.
Well, so Detroit is virtually in Atlanta.
Yeah. And I also wanted to ask him about trains and aircraft.
How would you guys feel being consolidated as U.S., never having been?
Well, if it was the natural evolution of history, I mean, it would be fine. You know what I mean? As long as you don't force the issue. I mean, if that's the way that it happens, well, that's the way that it happens. At the same time, Canada and the United States are both very different.
So you wouldn't have that.
Very much the same.
You wouldn't have that medical system up there. You wouldn't have.
Well, that medical system is on the shitty legs right now.
All right, listen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
First time on the line, you are on the phone. Yes. How are you? I'm quite well. How about yourself? Well, I'm doing quite well, thank you. Listen, it's been a long time. I've been listening to you for years. For years now? Yeah, yes, I have. Are you a time traveler? Well, yes. I mean, it has to be because of your show. What? Well, first of all, it goes back to 1995. I'm located up here on the Rush River. Yes, so essentially, I was working 2 days. I caught one of these shows. I listened to Malachi Martin. Yeah. And he told me and or to most of your audience, how to pray, how to accept acceptance, and something happened, man. What? I'm tired. I've gone I'm running illegal. I'm going 23, 24 days in a row. I hear a lot of truckers. Yeah. And so you had an epiphany on the road. No, man, no. Something happened. And suddenly I got touched. I felt like I got hit by a little golden wand or whatever. That hit me on the top of my head. You sure they just didn't bang your head as you were getting out of the truck or something? No, I mean, true. That's not what happened. It woke me up into a lot more than what I knew in the past, and I started to see into the future. And when I started to see into the future, I was good. I didn't see so much the doom and gloom, but I started to see the things the actual changes. Going through a tremendous rate of change right now, and it includes all of us. But most importantly, what I saw in a flash, in an instant, what I saw was a better place to be. And how far ahead is that? Because right now, besides, the canaries are dropping like flies here. Yeah, I realize the canaries are dropping like flies. We realize that we got global warming, which is surprising, melting. So then when does it get better? The better part is around the corner, and I would say maybe in 10 years. What I saw was something that flashed. So you didn't actually, you didn't really come on time. You saw ahead in time is what you did. I'm not exactly sure how you would say that. No, all I know is that something touched me. Were you actually, okay, let's put it this way. Were you seemingly there? Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Well, it's good to hear that. No, hold on a second. I know what you're going to say, Art. I know what you're going to say. Hold on, man. This is something that happened. I understand that. It would be good to say. You said you were driving illegal. You were doing 1 million hours. You shouldn't have done it. You had a brain spasm. No, it wasn't a brain spasm. A trucker's brain spasm. Well, how do you know? Because that would be the criticism. I mean, especially with what you said. Well, I'll tell you exactly how I know. First of all, it was a warm feeling. It was a feeling of acceptance, and it kind of glowed the whole cab of inside my truck after so many years of not really believing, so to speak, being a hard, tough guy. All of a sudden, you realize and see something that was so cool. I said, you know what? There is something else out there. And that's powerful. And you know what? I got an immediate calm about me. And for a moment, the blink of an eye and a blink of your eye, what I saw was the state of the future. And what you saw was a rosy future. All right, I've got it. So, trucking into the future. Guess we'll call it. The trucker. I can't rule out the possibility that he whacked his head as he got out of the truck, or that his tab warmed up when he sort of fell off the cliff mentally after driving for so many hours. You've got to allow that at least as a possibility. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning. Yeah, hi, Art. Hello. I've been doing some dimensional travel yourself, huh? So again, well, okay, then let me ask you like I did the first caller, who apparently had a prepaid phone card that ran out. Tell me, is time linear in every dimension, as he suggested? Yeah, it is. And from what is the dimension like that you are from? It's very similar. And that's one problem that I had there was when I was sent. They gave me this special card when I come back. You were sent. You were sent. Yeah. And when I was supposed to come back, I was supposed to check it to make sure I was in the right dimension. Yeah. And it didn't match. Oh, right. So in other words, you're saying you were tossed here by mistake. Well, we found out that there's so many multiple dimensions. It's almost impossible to get back to your own. You can get back to a similar one, but getting back to precisely where you were is almost not possible. So it's like you're stuck here. Very difficult. Well, if this one is kind of like the one you came from, or with very few, what are the differences? And can you describe any differences? Do they have dogs there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Houses?
Yeah.
Detroit, cars?
Right. Yeah,
ozone depletion, ocean warming, all the problems we've got?
Basically, yeah.
Any difference at all?
Well, there'd be differences like, okay, like that one guy, you'd be like the senator or, different senators, different congressmen at different times, little things. Basically, even if we lost the First World War, in some dimensions, it ended up almost the same. There's different points of history that didn't absolutely have to happen.
Well, what about Canada and Mexico? And, I take it there is a Canada, there is a Mexico.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Well, there was one that I went to where Martin Luther King didn't exist. Malcolm X didn't.
These would be radical. Very, very different. Very different then.
Right. So the civil rights movement
didn't happen. Then what would the state of blacks be in your dimension versus this one?
Well, in that one, they were still segregated out, white-only areas and malls,
Well, that stinks. So you're in a really, you should count your lucky stars that you're in a better place.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah, it's that dimension.
Are you bummed out that you're stuck here?
No. It's okay.
Do you frequently tell people what you're telling me now? And no? That's probably a good idea. It wouldn't, so long would take a little while. Well, listen, I certainly appreciate you calling me.
Okay.
And you have a good night, sir. West of the Rockies, wait a minute here. Let me do this again. Oh, boy. West of the Rockies, are you there? Good. You're on there.
This is Bob in California. Hello, Bob. I met myself when I was 8 years old. I met myself.
Now you see, I've heard you can't do that, but you're saying you can.
I met myself from the future. It was really, really weird. When I was 8 years old in grammar school, I'd like play alone during the recess period.
Right.
Like behind the tree with my little army men and my cars.
Oh yes, I played with army men.
And this guy shows up and he's like dressed all in white. It's almost like a uniform, and he has gray hair, almost white. And I kind of recognized him after the conversation, and I think it was me. He asked me a lot of questions. He knew everything.
Oh, that's really intriguing. So in other words, your older self from the future or a future came and met you.
Right.
How did you recognize yourself? How did you know it was you?
Good question. I think I recognized my teeth because I've got these very distinct, I touched the teeth that stick out, and I never had orthodontics. And I guess I had my permanent teeth.
A sort of a Bugs Bunnyism.
Yeah, well, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
But very identifying.
Yeah, it's like a fingerprint. And I recognized my teeth. And later, I also recognized some mole that...
Other than your toothiness, how did you look? Were you aging reasonably?
Well, at 8 years old, you're not all that discriminating critiquing an adult. But I was clean. I had great white clothing, and I had gray or white hair. And I just asked myself a lot of questions about my brother and my parents and things like that. What do you want to be when you grow up? It's kind of like I went back in time to psychoanalyze myself.
Now you're confusing me.
Well, see, it's like sometime in the future when I'm 60 or 70 years old, I somehow...
Obviously, will go back, right?
I get access to a time machine or some kind of astral projection or something.
And whatever it is, you will go back and meet yourself at 6 years of age or whatever.
Well, I think it was closer to 8 or 9.
8 or 9, whatever.
And I wish I could tell you some information. I wish I had given you a few hints of like things that happen in the future that I could tell your audience.
But most of the questions that you have, I mean, obviously, I understand in the person.
Yeah, I think I went back there and kind of get a glimpse of myself when I was a child.
Which which end of it do you really remember, or do you remember both ends? Do you remember?
No, I only remember what occurred, when I was 8. I'm just 36 right now, right? So I guess sometime in the future when I have white hair, I got a little bit of gray already. I got this mole that showed up under my eye that this guy had.
Same mole, huh?
Yeah, well, yeah, at 8 I didn't have it, but I got it about 5 years ago.
Well, we're getting there. I mean, this is nearly enough to convict you if it was a crime. A mole and toothiness and other general characteristics that you can see where you must have been really weird.
Well, it didn't really dawn on me until this mole sort of started growing on my cheek, and then I sort of thought back to that memory, and that's my face kind of go. Think of yourself when you were 8. If you were to meet yourself today, would you recognize yourself?
What an interesting question. I was an annoying little SOB. I'd probably recognize myself. So, I guess, but now that I think about it, I'm not really sure. So, but you obviously did, and what a weird thing it must have been.
I just share it with you, and maybe you can.
And how weird it must be to think that you are going to do it. I mean, this is something that lies in your fairly immediate future.
Oh, no, I have white hair and what's the first I met. So I think it's probably 30 years.
Yeah, well, 30 years, but 30 years are cosmically, it's a blink in time. It's nothing. That's nothing. All right, well, listen, thank you very, very much for calling. Okay, I'm going to see you. We are going to talk about time. Time, we already have it, but now with an expert. I'm Art Bell, and from the high desert, this is Coast to Coast AM. Coming up front is David Anderson. He is a former United States Air Force officer, flight test engineer, and scientist. He developed a passion for space-time study while conducting research at the prestigious Air Force Flight Test Center. For the last 20 years, 2 decades, he's been formulating and developing his breakthrough concepts in space-time physics and the study of time. His work led to the promise for the development of the application of practical time control technology. Oh, doesn't that sound interesting? In 1995, Dr. Anderson founded the Time Travel Research Center. Today, the most advanced research laboratory dedicated exclusively to the study and development of time control technology and its application. His company also sponsors an organization entitled the Time Travel Research Association, which networks time travel information interests from more than 80 countries all around the world. That's who's directly ahead, Dr. Anderson. All right, here comes Dr. David Anderson. Doctor, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Rick.
Where are you? Roughly.
We're located on Long Island, New York.
Long Island, New York.
That is correct.
Way back there. All right, Doctor, I must tell you, time travel is probably the most interesting notion and pursuit that I have. All my life, I have contemplated its possibility, and so we're going to have a lot in common, I feel. How did you, pray tell, with all your formal education, get involved in something so obvious?
Well, it's amazing, I think, for you and us today in the edge, because I think in the next 5 to 10 to 15 years, we're going to see a lot of common applications with time control theory and technology in our daily lives. When I initially began, though, when I was young, I always had an interest in mathematics and physics. And as you mentioned earlier, I did spend about 5 years doing research and development at the Medical Center, research. And we were trying to solve a problem with variants in the satellite position. They were drifting so much every year. And I was trying to solve the problem. About 2 years later, after solving the problem, I went back and asked the numbers. And what came out of that was a whole new model with regards to
So you had an anomaly in one satellite or a constellation of satellites?
No, it was basically a number of different space-based satellite systems. They were drifting each year. We would predict it as many models available to us where we thought the satellites should be.
Based on all kinds of factors, gravity, the orbit, really different factors, I suppose.
Absolutely. But what was the confusing issue to everybody was the satellites were not where they were predicted to be. And it turned out that the bottom line that was due to the results of what's called copyright prediction that comes out of Einstein's
What is that?
Copyright is a phenomenon predicted by general relativity that talks about how a spinning mass, like the Earth or the Moon, actually would drag space and time around it slightly to a very small degree.
I understand exactly what you're saying. The rotation itself is actually causing time and space itself to be slightly perturbed. Is that
correct? It's a good explanation.
Wow. The implications of that, then.
Well, I think the implications that came out of that work was that it wasn't so much that we solved the problem. What we realized, we came up with a new mathematical model that not only corrected the satellite predictions and where they should be, but it also illustrated to us some new relationships that existed between space and time, and energy and electromagnetic fields. I guess the coupling of those different technologies that we weren't apparent before. And from that coupling, that's where my passion, I think. It was always a passion, but like you, I think from that point, it really became an obsession.
Okay, you did all this for, as you pointed out, the very prestigious Air Force Flight Test Center. Would you explain to the powers that be what you had discovered? How did they handle that? Because you were telling them something entirely new in science, and I wouldn't think they'd take that real well.
Well, you're absolutely right. Sometimes different instructions that were in place are a little slow to get new ideas. So it really wasn't the case there. Initially, as I mentioned, the problem was solved with a mathematical model. And at the time, when we solved the problem, we were very pleased. We were very happy. We knew reliable systems.
satellites would be. And ultimately, I suppose that's all they modified aircraft are. That's correct. And not even recognize what I'm talking about. At that point, I was just on my way to leave the Air Force, and I decided that I would pursue that research on my own. And so where did you, so back in private life, where did you take that research from that point? Or how did you proceed from that point? Well, I spent probably a good part of, I would say, 10 years doing nothing and trying to refine that mathematical model. I've done a lot of different research, a lot of different development. In the early 1990s, been working in space-time physics. Nothing now is time machine. I also had a key focus of the caption this year. Application of technology will be not for sending somebody through space and time. It'll be more for applications in everyday life. One of our key focus areas is medical applications. Well, they said in a recent movie, baby steps. Exactly. So, what application of control of time can you imagine early on? Early on, I think two of our most interest areas right now where we see most of our funding and most of our focus is in two areas. The first is the medical industry, and the second is industrial process application. And the medical industry is actually our short-term focus is the development of the capability to use this technology for organ preservation to help store and preserve organs while they're awaiting transplant. Now, the medical industry and the communities that we're working with right now, they really see that as a stepping stone. What they really want to see our time warp field technology used for is for eventually medical stasis fields that will help stop the progression of eventually fail. Okay, wait, you're already in the field. Now let's back up to organs for a second. Just a second. If you apply time control technology to the preservation of organs, does that mean, for example, that somebody who has a head trauma and dies, whose organs are going to be used for transplantation, in some manner or another, you would apply time technology to keep the organs fresh? Yes, maybe the best thing to do would just be explain a little bit about what our time warp field technology is. Okay, in a way we can digest, I hope. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Essentially, our time warp field technology allows us to create today what we call a small self-contained time warp field. The field size that we work with is about a 30 to 40 centimeter diameter field. So it's a spherical field. Within that field, we are able to adjust to a small degree the time rate at which time passes relative to the time rate outside of the field. So an object inside of that field will experience a slightly accelerated or slightly retarded time rate relative to anything outside. So by placing an organ that's awaiting transplant inside of that field, we can actually slow down the rate at which time passes for that organ, making it preserving it much longer. Absolutely, French organs. Absolutely. So you're really, people need to know you're really serious about this. You say you can create a 30 to 40 centimeter. How big is that? That would be roughly about 10 to 12 inches. 10 to 12 inch area where time is either going faster or slowing down. Is it a cumulative process, Doctor? In other words, the longer something remains within this field, the longer the progression or regression in time?
Absolutely, absolutely. Typically what we do is once we establish the field and we place an object or test instrumentation inside of the field, and we adjust the time rate. That time rate is 50% of the rate at which time outside the field.
Holy smokes. Really?
That's correct.
You're telling me you've done this?
Absolutely. I'm not saying that we're not without problems, but we have made some great steps and achievements, especially last year. Last year was a very successful year for us early on.
Good Lord, Doctor. You realize what you're telling everybody here tonight?
I realize what we're telling everybody. I will tell everybody that also, as much as we've seen some great success, there are also many challenges that we face as well. So I think many times, as much as we have success, there are probably more questions now than we had before.
Let me begin, and I guess there will be some proprietary information you can't give me, but how would such a field be created? Can you give me any broad outline?
Well, there is some proprietary information I cannot provide, but to give you a rough outline, creating the field, I'd say, would pretty much happen in a three-step process. First, we use an antenna configuration that introduces a high-speed rotational magnetic field in the core area of the field.
Okay, I had a feeling it was going to be that.
Well, actually, believe it or not, that's probably not the most important element. It's important. We found out from a stability standpoint, it's important. But then we use an injector system that establishes what I'm saying is a necessary core environment, and that's the key element there is the injection of a gas reagent. The third step is that we use a high-energy laser array to induce and then modulate the field. And this is, I guess I'm saying for some of the scientists out there, this is similar, not identical, but similar to what's done in high-energy plasma physics.
Well, let me tell you what's blowing me away about this, all right? I don't know whether you are familiar with the story of the Philadelphia experiment.
Of course I am, absolutely. I share with you.
Okay, well, I've interviewed a number of people who claimed involved in that. And the technical description that they gave, Doctor, of the equipment that was used in that experiment, which really was a radar evasion experiment more than it was time travel or invisibility or anything like that. But they used rotating fields, magnetic fields, and RF as well, rotating RF fields. I'm trying to remember the exact configuration of that power amounts, but are you familiar with the story vaguely?
Yes, I am. As a matter of fact, I know what they did is they were trying to eke out the ship so line, so they were using magnetic fields around the ship, trying to provide a magnetic field. But I would say there's a big difference between what we're doing and that.
But also, as I heard you describe what created the field, the alarm bells were going off saying, ding, 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 that sounds somewhat similar.
Yeah, sometimes I wish I didn't have to say those 4 words, but it is an important part. What we found out was when we induce a field, the most important part is establishing the right core environment, getting the gas reagent distributed properly, and then firing our laser ray into the field. Like I said, it's very, very similar to high-energy plasma experimentation. We found out, though, that the rotational magnetic field helps us solve some stability problems. It's a key component, but it's not a driving element.
Oh, smokes. Well, excuse me, but this is going to be breaking news for a lot of people, Doctor. I mean, that we can even do this. It's certainly news for me, and I didn't expect you to tell me this tonight. I thought you would be a theoretical research group only, not actually involved in the hardware. And so what you're saying tonight is a total blowaway for a lot of people. You understand that?
Again, I understand that. And I guess I would let people know as well, as much as we have seen progress, like I said, we have many, many challenges. We see the benefits of the medical community. The organ preservation experimentation that we're doing right now, that's a stepping stone. Like I said, the medical community has their eye on the possibility of eventually stage-of-fetal disease regression. The other area are where a lot of people are expressing interest in even funding our research to a certain degree for industrial process acceleration. When I say that is,
there are many scientific and industrial processes that take a tremendous amount of time to complete. Right. And the ability to accelerate certain test processes or industrial process or chemical reaction. We have obvious tremendous economic value. Absolutely. Absolutely. For us, it's kind of interesting. Our biggest, from our heart, our biggest area is to see the application of this in the medical application, because we see it offering a tremendous, not only a brand new field of technology, but a tremendous benefit for people around the world. Well, of course it would be. It would be, Mr. Anderson's one step for mankind. Neil Armstrong's one step, you're Anderson for mankind. A giant leap for mankind is what it would be to be able to preserve organs with actual time. Time travel might not be the right phrase. That's why I carefully use the word time control technology. Like I said, we all here have a passion that someday we might be able to build that great machine of fiction. But for now, we see the short-term applications being very difficult. If you look 50 years, 100 years ahead, if you project your research out 100 years, could there be a time machine? I think the answer to that is yes. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. Well, I have a lot of, Art, the one thing I would say is one thing we have not done. We did early last year. We had demonstrated our time rate acceleration and retardation using mechanical and electrical clocks. Yes, they're all 10 years old in organism. What we did last year. Hold that. It's a great place to hang everybody up, including me. I want you to stay right where you are. Oh my.